What's up?
Got my main man, Sean Mucker.
What's going down?
What's going on, Sean? And we have some very, very, very special guests in the building today. We have Mr. I call him Mr. Louisville now. Mr. Louisville.
Stop that.
Ravon Churchill. Ravon Churchill and Darrell Griffith Jr.
How y'all doing?
What's going on, people?
All right.
So look, man, we want to talk about, before we get into, you have a big event, but the two of you have a big event coming up. You have a big event coming up this Sunday.
Tomorrow.
Cox Park.
Yes, sir.
So you have a rally for Breonna Taylor.
Yes, sir.
It's hosted by ex-NBA player Steven Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
And Steven's been like kind of the face of this thing when it comes to Minneapolis because I guess they call themselves brothers, but he and George Floyd look so much alike.
Yeah.
They've been calling themselves brothers.
Call each other twins.
Call themselves twins. So before we get into this though, man, let's give you props on this all black men's march. So let me think, was it June 6th?
Yep.
June 6th, man, City of Louisville, not only have I never seen anything like this, I've never been a part of anything like this. And I think only you could have put this together in such a short period of time. But
it was luck. It was truly like it was right timing, and like you giving me like saying like it's hard for me to take the like props, so to speak, or like credit for it. I just like you could have done it.
Nah. I couldn't take your flowers now because because I think you either sent me the invite or the flyer that same week.
Yep.
And then that Saturday it was pulled off. That was a lot to pull off, and it was organized well. It was successful. And for those that don't know, June 6th, downtown Louisville, down at what is it called? I always get it wrong. Is it Jefferson Square Park?
Jefferson Square.
So now they're calling it Injustice Park. They've been correcting me on it too, like Injustice Park. But Jefferson Square Park, 6th and Jefferson, there has been kind of the headquarters or ground zero for the Breonna Taylor rallies.
It was actually June the 7th.
June 7th. Okay, so June 7th, Ravon Churchill put together an all-black men's march. And it was to me
epic.
It was epic. It was a version to me of the Million Man March in D.C., but Louisville style.
Yeah.
So you had black men. Man, we had black police officers, black professionals, black street cats, black ball. You had black people, black men from everywhere on one accord marching through downtown Louisville, and it was a wonderful sight to see.
It was, and the reason that I came up with that brand is I have been to, was luckily enough to being invited to a couple of meetings a couple of days before. And the first meeting, it was 15 men and 2 women. Okay. And both of these women, they weren't in the room at the same time, so they didn't hear each other speak. Right. And they both kept saying, hey, we want our men to be leaders of the household again and to lead. And these were successful, women in their own right. And they still were saying, hey, we want our men to step up and lead. Went to another meeting that same night, and I was with a group of young ladies, and they were saying the exact same thing. So it was a question like, what can you do? What do you have that can make a difference? And then so I just got home thinking that night, and I was like, man, I'm gonna see if I can put something together. And honestly, I was thinking like, I know 100, 150 dudes who might show up. So I was thinking, 100, 150, and I think we had like 15. Somebody estimated like 1,500, almost 2,000, like 1,500 men. But there were so many other supporters that came down, so we almost had like 2,000 people in Jefferson Square that morning. It was a silent march. We walked through, we took over the whole downtown, and we didn't say a word. And I don't know if you remember, but the most powerful part to me was when we all took a knee for 8 minutes. So Brad, I was down for a minute and a half, and I was like, whoo, let me get up. So I stood up, and so on that picture that a lot of people have seen, I stood up because I wanted to see. I had to get up and just see. Man, what was going on?
I thought you had to get up because your knees were burning on the concrete. That was the real reason.
Yeah,
that was the real reason. Oh, man.
Look, it was 8 minutes 46 seconds.
Man, that was
And I was there. I had to keep switching knees. I ain't gonna lie, because we older now.
Oh yeah.
But that pavement was hot, man.
Sir.
But you know what I kept saying in my head? I said, you know what?
This man was on the
ground. George Floyd took it, man. If George Floyd took it, I'm gonna take it. And you had, man, and it wasn't just this. This is what stood out to me. Everybody's important, don't get me wrong. But you had black men come out that are significant in our community. I mean, for me to see police officers, and I mean, right now, some people some people kind of, are kind of drawing a line like, was us versus them. It's the black community versus police. You had black police officers marching in the name of injustice.
Side by side.
You had attorneys.
Yeah.
You had, so everybody was out, man. It was a great. I don't think Louisville's ever seen camaraderie like that within the black community.
Yeah, that black males, definitely black males. Take a step farther, black males, because normally you get 12 of us together,
right.
So there's bound to be an argument.
Something's gonna happen. And that was the thing too, because like Brianna's a woman, right. But most of the times it's black men that are at the hands of social injustice.
It is.
And then like you just said, like when you get a group of a dozen of us or more together, anything, might go down. And so that was the thing I was hoping that we could all come together, and show that we can come together in solidarity and do something. And it was cool. You know what I'm saying? It was cool. There's a picture of when we were all kneeling. There was a police officer that was crying. You know what I'm saying? So if there were grown men that were crying at this event because they said it just gave them such a good feeling to be a part of. So I'm proud to have been a part of that. I'm uncomfortable taking the credit, but I'm proud to have been a part of it.
I say for me, seeing that everybody come together, it kind of connected us all together. Because at first it was like separate, police on this, like they drew a line in the street, like y'all on this side, we on this side. But when we did that march, it's like we was all one.
Man, and you're seeing that with this Brianna. Look, this is something that I truly believe in. So for me, it's the greatest time to be black right now because I'm seeing things come to fruition that we've fought for centuries before our time. But since I've been alive, I've been well. Look, my name is Brad, right? So my name is Brad Everett Harrison.
That's a white guy's name.
So it's a white guy's name, right? So when I talk to white people about white people having a preference in America, right? Or privilege. My parents named me what we call application names. So right. So when you apply for a job, they didn't know you were black because there was a time that if they saw a black name on an application, the application might go in the trash. You know what I mean?
They still doing it.
Right. So I mean, that's what people don't understand privilege. That's the privilege that white people have in America. So this country has been founded on all the culture when it comes to names. When you look at Brad, when you look at Mike, when you look at John, those are European names. So everything that America wants to embrace is European. So anything that was black or African was stripped from us, from our religion, to our culture, to our names, to our God, to our everything was stripped from us, and we had to embrace European standards. If we didn't, we were deemed second-class citizens in America. We're still second-class citizens, but if we even tried to embrace, I've heard people tell me black people are racist, and I'm like, we're just fighting for equal ground here. You know what I'm saying?
I know a lot of racist black people.
Okay, speak on it.
Speak on, okay. I work every single, the last few weeks since the coronavirus, so I was switched departments and I was working every single day, just one-on-one in a truck with a guy. And when I say dude is a racist, and I've called him out on it, it's my buddy though. We've been knowing each other for 30 years. So we're friends. We have these deep conversations, just one-on-one in the truck for 8 hours a day. And I called dude, you're a racist. And he was like, so he called his mom on the phone and said, man, mama, Ravon is calling me a racist. And she was like, well, you are. So there are black racists. And I know for a fact that there are black racists. I think there are racists in every single race. For one, you think that your race is the premier race. Like you just said, it's a good time to be black. I've never once in my life said I wish I was white, or I wish I was Asian, or I wish I was Latin. I'm proud of my blackness. You know what I'm saying? But I'm sure there are Asians and Latins and white. We know there's racism. Racism exists, not just in the United States, but black people in Europe, they suffer the same thing. Like when you have European soccer teams with Black Lives Matter, they change their last name on they don't even call them jerseys. They call them shirts. They changed the last name on their shirts to Black Lives Matter. That's how you know that what happened to George Floyd, what happened to Breonna Taylor is worldwide now. And racism is being brought to the forefront. And if you are racist, you should be called upon it. You know, like, not saying that my friend was a bad person. That's just his ideology. And when you think about his ideology, you have to think about white people having the same ideology.
Well, see, I have a different opinion on that. So I'm saying, like, when I meet black people that I've had some in my family that are like what people would deem racist, right? And I say, is it racist or is it black people responding to the racism they've been dealt with? Because, like, if you hold a person down forever, like, if you're like, I don't like you because you're black, I'm taking your rights away because you're black, I'm going to segregate you because you're black, I'm going to enslave you because you're black, and then you're like, well, this is the group that's enslaving me, I don't like them. Is that actually racism, or is that a reaction to racist treatment?
In my opinion, you can call it racism or reaction. But when you separate, or when you say them, they, those, I think that is racism. This is my personal opinion.
Okay.
When you categorize it, you know, like when my particular friend, he always said they, them, and their, and those, you know, like, that is a separation, you know. So I think all of us have. So let me ask you this then: Is racism and prejudice the same thing?
No.
Explain the difference.
Okay, racism is a systemic thing.
Gotcha.
So racism is something that if you're racist towards a group of people, you can enslave a group of people, you can stop a certain people getting jobs, you can stop a certain group of people from living in certain places. You have power to do that. Black people don't have that type of power in America. Prejudice is just not liking someone because of what they look like or their sexual orientation or whatever. But I don't think. See, the thing is, when I say it's a good time to be black in America,
and I agree with that. It's definitely a good time.
Right. The things that, like, now you see corporations. I get emails from Adidas or Nike or different places that say we're gonna donate X amount of dollars to black causes or whatever. Right. These are things that we've been asking for forever, and now because of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and Ahmaud Arbery, America is looking like, well, we really haven't been treating people fair, because we're not asking for more than any other group. We're asking to be equal, right, and we haven't been equal to anyone in America since we've been. Like, if we go back to just the name thing, right? Or now there's a big thing with Shaun King the other day. Shaun King asked America. He said, well, if you're taking down racist statues, why don't you take down a racist statue of Jesus, right? So you got to think how deep that goes. Right. In America, racism was perpetuated on black people through Jesus. If you have a Jesus that's blonde hair and blue eyes that came from the Middle East, there's no way a white person came from Egypt, right? But if you have a representation of Jesus coming from that area, it's telling white people that we are the superior race. We are God. We're made in God's image, so we're above you. So black people have went into this country looking at, we're beneath the people that look like a blonde-haired, blue-eyed Jesus, and that was used to mentally and physically oppress us.
And it worked.
Yeah, it worked. So now America is simply these murders of Breonna Taylor and these murders of the murder of George Floyd. All these murders. There's been other murders, and they've never gained this type of traction. And I'm like, man, these people here are fighting from the other side. They on the other side, man. They fighting like, this is. We're going to make a change in the world.
I blame it on Corona, though. Because Corona slowed everything down, stopped everything.
If people weren't at home,
you had no choice but to pay attention to what's going on now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think, not to cut you off, Ravon, I think you still have racist and prejudiced white people, but you also have white people that are educated and want to know more.
Right.
But I look into it a little bit deeper. Back in the civil rights movement, there wasn't that many mixed population as it is now.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So with them, like you said about the guy who wanted his sons to march, but he was a white guy, but he had mixed kids. You see what I'm saying? So now it's changing their narrative, because everybody knows if you're a mixed kid, when you fill out your application, you're going to consider black. Right. You see what I'm saying? So now that's making it a little bit out there as far as the rest of the world seeing it, because we have a lot of interracial relationships and interracial children and stuff like that.
And so, like you just said, interracial neighborhoods too.
Yeah, interracial neighborhoods. So, like, I got plenty of friends that's mixed.
Yeah.
You know, you got some that favor the white side and some that favor the black side, and you got some that's almost my complexion.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? But when you look at them just going out in public,
They're black.
They're black.
They're black.
They're black. But when you go and you invited to their house, and then you see the mom and their kid cooking, and then you see a white guy come out, and you just like,
what happened?
you know. But it's bringing education to that side, and I think that's why it's more white people involved than it was ever before.
Look, you're exactly right. Because when I talk to several white people, that's the exact sentiment. White people say like, I've heard several white people say, I have a black grandchild.
Right.
This could be my grandson being murdered by police. So let's change gears a little bit. So from you,
one more time,
go ahead.
real quick. I think this to end that part, like, I think the video, I think the actual visual of it made it human.
Yeah.
And like that was a human being that was there with a knee on his neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. And I believe that video changed a lot.
It did.
And especially if you saw the video with no sound, and then you heard the sound, and you heard like the young man and the young lady who was actually recording. You actually heard it. Yeah. Like when I saw it, I was mad. But when I heard it, I was livid. I was angry. I was ready to, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I think that video changed a lot. And Ahmaud Arbery, because you saw the video. Yeah. So even if you are a white person, you're like, man, hold up, man. Like, this is...
Like, anytime you hear a grown man ask for their mama,
right,
it's bad.
Who's
you know
dead?
what I'm saying? Yeah.
His mom was passed.
Right. But I'm saying, anytime you hear a grown man ask for their mama,
it's rough.
It's bad. It's real bad. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So to change gears a little bit, like Griff, you, your father had, well, there's a little privilege there because your father was an NBA star, right? But at the same time, you've always still been well connected from the streets.
Right.
So being able to play both of those lanes, does it seem, has it ever been a problem with you trying, because you're on both sides, so have you ever had to try to explain to people that are privileged that, hey, look, some of my friends from the block don't necessarily get to be in the space I'm in? Have you ever had to have those conversations with people?
Every day. Now, let me set the record straight.
Go ahead.
My father came from 41st and Hill. He worked for that.
Right.
He earned that. My mother grew up in Village West.
So you're from the hood.
I'm from the hood.
Right.
When my dad got to the league, he moved everybody out to Newburgh area. Then he got his house in the Oxmoor St. Matthews area. So about 11, 12 years old, once he retired, I moved with him. And it's different because, like you said, I'm on both sides of the fence. When he was home for the summer, 2-3 months out of the little break from the NBA, I was with him every day. But when that season started back, I'm back in Autumn Run and off of Goldsmith and Peabody. Okay. So it's like the best of both worlds. But when I'm out in Oxmoor Woods or St. Matthews area, I got rich white kids around me. So if you grow up in the hood and then you change and the environment's different, like, I don't know them. But they're coming to me to befriend me because of who my daddy is. Not because I'm cool. Not because they like me. Right. Because of who my father is. Now let me also set the record straight. That Darrell Griffith stuff is only in Kentucky. Okay. If I go to Oklahoma, they don't know him. So now I'm a black man.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So on both sides of the fence, it's good and it's bad. Something that I've been through, I think I was 15 or 16 years old. I was playing football at Ballard High School. We was playing male high school, and this is when male was #1 in the nation. Got our butts kicked. We leave like normal routines after the game. You take a shower, talk to your friends. You're going to go over to your mom's or your granny's to get something to eat. And it was 3 friends of mine in the car. We carpooled over my granny's. We was going to go to Indies. That's where everybody went to back in the day in our era after football games on Friday, kick it down there in Central and stuff. So pulls over my grandmother's house, goes in, get a couple dollars, come back out. And they have a friend of mine, he's no longer with us. His name is Vaselis Hammond. And they had him stretched out.
Police?
Stretched out. So my friends is on cars, just like y'all stay over here. He's stretched out, and they messing with him. So when I come out of the door, the detective, look, Griff, you have nothing to do with this. First of all, how you know my name?
I was gonna ask you that. Go ahead.
I was in the house. You know what I'm saying? So what's going on? And come to find out, the officer that was at the game followed us to my grandmother's house just to pick with the sellers because he was in the streets. You know what I'm saying? So he couldn't have done nothing. Whatever he had done was previously in that week or prior to. But you let us play a football game. We had a report at the school at 5:30. Game's over around 10-ish, 10:30. So you waited for us to play to pick on this guy when you could have addressed the situation before the game even started.
Right.
So that was them using their power just to get something out and just to let them know of their authority. You know, the officer to this day, I'm not going to name his name, but he's the head officer for the U of L basketball team.
Well, you just named him.
Yeah, without giving his government. Without giving his government. You know what I'm saying?
But I think that's one of the biggest problems is it's not so much of them doing their job. It's just the way they throw their authority around. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And a perception on black men.
And a perception on black men.
Yeah.
So, to answer your question, yes, I do go through best of both worlds. It's the goods, it's the bads. You got the hecklers, you got the fans and stuff of that way. That is mainly the reason why I'm not a Louisville fan. Because I don't want to hear that. That's my daddy's glory. I'm my own man. You know what I'm saying? I'm making my own path. Not to say that I hate the school, but I don't want to hear all that. The typical question is, what is your dad doing now? What happened to the restaurant? Is he still living in Louisville? Is that your business? Simple.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Is that your business? Are you going to ask you that? Are you going to ask Ravon that? You know what I'm saying? Just because of the name that I have, you feel obligated to know more than what people is supposed to know. It's private situations in anything. Regardless if you are LeBron James or Darrell Griffith. I've seen it to where a man is eating and you just run up to him, can I have your autograph, can I have your autograph? And then you don't expect a response that he's going to get. I'm with my family right now. After this, I can attend to you. And he does that. But it's also some jerk people out here. You know what I'm saying? And I've seen my dad. Everybody knows my dad. He's a kind, loving, well man, well-spoken. But everybody has their point. You know what I'm saying? So
I would pay to see it because I ain't never seen him lose his cool. He always, cool, calm.
I mean, he's not going to literally cuss you out or nothing like that. Right. He's gonna get his point across.
You know what I always thought about him though? I thought, and I guess it's his personality. I said, man, this dude is too humble. Like, for what he did for the city of Louisville, he's not out in the city of Louisville like this is.
He's touchable. Yeah. He's born and raised from Louisville and he loves the city. Certain people when they get that next status, they forget where they came from.
College status, yeah.
My daddy has never forgotten where he's came from, ever. And my daddy is inside this community more than people know, because he's not a person that, I did this.
Wants to shine.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Here, keep my name off of it. You don't have to put me down. There's no sponsorship or nothing like that. And he helps us along the way because, especially me and Ravon, loves Ravon, loves him. Like when we started the Griff League, he was like, "So who you gonna have commentating?" And I was like, "Ravon." He's like, "Who's Ravon?" And I was like, "That does the paddle puck games." He said, "Oh yeah, he's perfect for it." You know what I'm saying? And we doing the budget. He's like, "Make sure Ravon gets his," because he's the voice of what we're doing. Everybody's going to follow what we're doing because of what Ravon is saying and his enthusiasm and how he gets everybody involved. So he knows the key elements of people, and he wants them to perspire. He can call my daddy right now without calling me. You think your dad to do this? Call him, and he's going to answer the phone. "What's up, Ray? I got you." And that's just how he is. He's the most humbling man that I know. And I said this the other day. There's Muhammad Ali, and then it's Darrell Griffith. And since Muhammad Ali's gone, he's number one at the plateau.
Thanks.
But he knows how to carry himself. You see what I'm saying? And he's taught me a lot on how to carry myself because, being hype man graffiti, first being Darrell Griffith Jr., then being the athlete that I was, and then transitioning myself to a hype man.
I didn't know that. Hold on.
Yeah.
Were you hype man graffiti?
Yeah.
That's you.
Connect the dots.
No, I didn't know that. So wait a minute. Remember they started another radio station here? I think it was 104.
104.3.
And that was you.
That was me.
I had no idea.
And I
had no idea.
And this is funny. The way that you just said that
Happens to him all the time.
All the time. And it happened with my dad. We in the car, and he's like, hey, who's that? I like his voice. I want him to do a commercial for it. And I was, I reached out to him. He was like, you know what I'm saying? He's like, man, he got a strong voice. I like that. You know what I'm saying? And then he's like, did you get back in touch with that hype man? I said, Posh, that's me. And he's like, you bullshit. You know what I'm saying? and he's seen another side of me that he's never seen.
That was a great run.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I was 10, 11 years, but at the same time, like, you gotta make transitions. You gotta recreate yourself. Right. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't know how to do that. You know what I mean? So, like, it might be over with us from doing this march or this rally, but we're gonna keep going.
I think y'all I think it pretty much takes y'all to the next level. I think it pretty much, you have recreated yourself because, it's moving from the partying to something more serious, something real.
It's the word you're looking for is organized. I've been
organized. I'm just saying it takes you to a different level.
It does,
because people know hype man graffiti, powder puff. They don't know the seriousness, the serious side of it.
And this is the show.
Growth.
Yeah, the growth. It's showing the growth, and it's the same, but it's different. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why I'm involved is because of Nicole Hayden. I put on my Facebook, who was the black leaders in Louisville now since Ravon passed, and she said you, and I'm like, Cole, this is different from hyping up drunk people in the club to dealing with politicians and social injustice. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to make it seem like I'm just trying to jump on it to pump it up. Like, I'm really trying to educate myself and others on what we got going on. So however I could have played my part in this situation, I was all for it. And that's just basically what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's just showing a different side of you, but I'm still doing what I love to do, and that's organizing, keeping things afloat, and being that contact person that can't be seen or whatever. Steven Jackson reached out to us, and I really feel like that when he reached out, Louisville, I'm coming, he didn't know nobody here. So he's just trying to figure out who's gonna bite that bait. And I had a mutual friend, and he was like, yo, can you handle the logistics and all that other stuff? And I'm like, yeah, most definitely. And he was like, man, who we need to get in contact with? My man to my right. He just came off the Black Man March, so why not? You know what I'm saying? So it was fitting for us to team up to do this event, using my platform, using Ravon's platform. That's going to cover a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? So whatever that I can do to support the cause, and create justice for Brianna and Mr. McAtee, I'm all for it, man. Sometimes you can't do stuff just for pride and recognition. Sometimes you got to do it for the love, and that's one thing that I've always carried with myself. When you do stuff for money, you're gonna get burned. But when you do it for the love, the money's gonna come. You know what I'm saying? So and that's just showing you how passionate and driven you are about the cause that you're trying to put out.
All right, so let's go into this event tomorrow. Okay. What do we expect from this event? So we know we have Steven Jackson coming in, and it's at Cox Park, 3 p.m., right?
Yes, sir.
3 p.m.
4:30.
4:30.
4:30. Okay, 4:30.
You might want to get there by 3.
We got set up.
So 4:30 p.m. tomorrow at Cox Park. Right. So what are we expecting from Steven Jackson and just the entire rally coming to Cox Park?
So we have a really good lineup of speakers, and we wanted to recruit speakers that could actually educate and inform us on how we can make changes to this lost KRS 67C. So KRS 67C is the law that stipulates that if the mayor or the chief of police, they fire a police officer, the police officer can appeal within a week. They get their job back. They get a week's worth of back pay that they missed, and the police department investigates whatever the fireable offense was.
Right.
So you're asking, like their colleagues to investigate what they did wrong. And sometimes, this like I don't know if you can see it, but Brad just gave a look like they're saying it right there.
Independent.
Yeah, it's not an independent
right,
investigation. And so when you talk about how ways we can get the public integrity unit, or we can get a community or a citizens board to be able to have privy to the access that the chief does, or questions like, should the chief be appointed? How should we have the chief? What kind of chief do we want? You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of things that a lot of people look at Mayor Fisher and say that's his fault or that's another person's fault. But the fault is in the law. And the reason we wanted to create this rally was so that the people that we have on the speakers that we have can come in and teach us how we can change this law. So this rally is educational and informational more than anything, because when you look at the rallies and the protests and the marches that have been going on, and I'm all for it, but I thought like we could use the people that we know. We can use our popularity that we have on social media and just through the streets. See, one thing about me and Griffith is we've built a lot of positive street equity, like throughout the years. Like I feel like, man, I don't bother anybody. I don't owe anybody. I've never double-crossed anybody. I don't lie on anybody. I put anybody in bad situations. And I've lived like literally in every neighborhood in the city. I went to 3 different high schools, and I went to K-State. So I know a lot of people. I hooped, I played football, I was in the clubs with Griff, you know what I'm saying? Like, all the promoters, all the DJs, like, I know all of these people. So it's easier for, like, people like me and Griff to make this happen than, like some other people. But I always say, when I do a show, to whom much is given, much is required. And I was given a huge platform. Griff was given a huge platform. Brad Harrison has a huge platform. Sean Mucker has a huge platform. So when you have people, but when you have people, like us, we have to use our platform, in a constructive way. And most of the things that I had done was entertainment. Like I had done, I'm no Griff or Hypes to Griff, but I hosted Margarita Mondays for a couple of years. I did the Dirt Bowl. I did Powder Puff. I've done a lot of different things, but this is something that I had no idea I was going to be here talking about this. Like a month ago, Brad, I had no idea that this was going to be like what
God put it on you, man.
Yeah, he did. And so, a lot of people called me after the march and was like, hey, man, like you are.
Nobody else could have put that together, I'm telling you. Listen, don't say nobody else could have put that together that soon.
And I thank you for that. And so, like, I didn't realize, like, how popular I was.
And just to touch on what he's saying, I said it yesterday. I told Ravon this probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he was like, man, that was a good one. Ravon's the city's homeboy.
Yeah,
definitely.
He's the city's homeboy.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's the voice of the city. I had that torch when I was doing the hype man thing, and and we can touch a lot of people. And he touched on this yesterday. We can be in the East End, in the middle of the projects. We can be in Victory Park. We can be on 41st. We can be in the middle of Newburgh. And then 10 minutes later, we can have a meeting with the mayor.
Right.
A lot of people can't do that. And he's getting a lot of flack for it. Like, why you listen to the mayor and all that? Who's going to be in that position for somebody to listen to?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that he's Reverend Jesse Jackson or nobody like that.
I definitely am not.
We still need to have somebody at the table.
Somebody has to have a conversation with him. And see, like right now, you're in a good spot with the mayor. Me and the mayor at odds right now, right? Mm-hmm. And we're at odds because...
You gonna tell everybody, ain't you?
Well, yeah, because the mayor has been a friend of the show. Yeah, and the mayor's been a few times. Yeah, he's been here. Yeah. And when this...
I watched it.
Yeah, so when this Breonna Taylor situation happened, like you were saying, like the 67C, right? And Mayor Fisher was standing on 67C. And I understand legally that is definitely a law that needs to be changed. Right. Okay, so how you two are having Stephen Jackson come tomorrow to hopefully lobby for that change, right? Mm-hmm. A famous face or a successful face helps lobby for that change. So when I looked at Minneapolis and I looked at their mayor, they have similar laws when it comes to police unions or whatever that give police due process not being fired. Because the police officers in Minnesota, they're suing the police department now to possibly get their jobs back. Right. So that's an option from the union, right? But from day one, their mayor stood on it, kind of in a Stephen Jackson perspective, saying, "Look, I'm the mayor. Even though the law says you deserve due process, if the head guy in the city is saying, I'm firing you, it's going to usher in change for other people to say, let's get this law changed." Keisha Bottoms did it in Atlanta when the police did that. So I'm looking at Mayor Fisher like, I get the law is this, right? But there becomes a time when you have to show the city that you're standing with the city, fire them, and let them sue you on the back end and move forward. I even had David James, Metro Council President, up here, and he said, look, man, we get wrongful termination suits every day. Sometimes we provoke them. Right. Sometimes we do it purposely. We're not. That's not foreign to us.
He's speaking. I ain't mean to cut you off, but he will be speaking at the
Dave James.
Yeah, so.
Okay. Like show the people, because right now the city feels, the black community. I'm not even gonna say the city. The black community feels like it's legal to kill black folks by LMPD, right? Mm-hmm. So we're asking you, if you say you're transparent, Mayor Fisher, you've been a friend of the black community for a long time. Stand on this, and you're saying, like, I seen him out there one day kneeling, doing the 8 minute. He kneeled for 8 minutes 46 seconds for George Floyd. So I'm saying, if you're kneeling, at least show the citizens, the black community, I'm gonna take a stance and fire these officers, because we heard they can't be fired, right? And then we see if we put enough pressure on them, they fire Hankerson. You know what I'm like? So they can be fired. Now he's gonna appeal his job.
He's already started the process.
That can be the smoke and mirrors too, though, Brad.
Yeah.
Are you firing Hankerson on what he's done outside of the Breonna Taylor that just done called
the
up
sexual assault,
or are you actually firing him because of his involvement in the Breonna Taylor?
Speaking of Officer Hankerson, we have a gentleman. His name is Kendrick Wilson. And he has been, I forgot the number.
The barbershop guy.
It's a ridiculous amount of number.
I think it's 3 arrests.
Yeah. So he's going to be speaking tomorrow, talking about his issue, his,
racial profile.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So he'll be speaking tomorrow. So just real quick, Brad, so tomorrow, like I said, it's going to be educational, informational. So we have the president of the Sickle Cell Association of Kentuckiana, because we also have the Black Health Matters too.
It does.
And then Black Money Matters. And then so we have Yvonne Smith, who is the president of One West. She's going to come and she's going to talk about how we can buy the block back, to get the buy the block back. We have Chief of Community Building, Mr. Vincent James, Senator Darrell Neal, Councilwoman Jessica Green, Councilwoman Donna Purvis, Council President David James, Miss Pamela Stevenson. She just ran for a U.S. State Senate seat. We have Jason Claiborne. Tim Finley is the only pastor that we have, because we didn't want it to be sermonic.
Right.
We didn't want it to be like church, because every time we have something like this, the black community is always like, well, where are the pastors? Or where is this person? Where is that person? So we have to get away from that narrative, I think, a little bit. And so we wanted to get people not so much who's going to give a sermon or be so sermonic. But Tim Finley is so good.
My pastor.
He's really good at what he does.
He just went through social injustice, I think, out of St. Matthews.
Yeah.
So, and then we have Councilwoman Keisha Dorsey. And listening to Keisha Dorsey, she's such a good teacher and explainer of how this law is and what we can do. I think her is like, we can't, I don't even want to misquote her, but it's like we can't change what's going on. We can't just change the face. We have to change what's going on. So people was like, hey, fire the mayor. So then she went on and talked about the process of firing the mayor. Right. So that process. But then she said it's not necessarily the mayor, whoever the mayor may be. It's the policy. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to let her come and speak. She's such a dynamic speaker. And we wanted to have women. We didn't want it to be a whole bunch of men, because there's a lot of powerful women in the city. Big fishes, black women that are big fishes in the city. And we wanted them to come out. Like I said, Jessica Green, Keisha Dorsey, Yvonne Smith. Those are black
powerful
ladies
women
in the city that are powerful women. And we also have our keynote speaker, the wonderful, the magnetic, and hopefully, he's going to be the new senator, Mr. Charles Booker. He's going to be coming down to bless us a little bit. Chief Schroeder. Chief Schroeder is actually going to come down. He's going to talk on the mic a little bit. He can't talk about the case. There's certain specifics he can't talk about, but he's going to come down, and then we're going to have Stacks. He's going to close it out.
But I think it's good that the Schroeder is coming, because he's trying to connect with the community.
Yep.
And I think it's a lot of stuff that's been missing with the police department and the community, because they're not in the community no more.
And he was adamant about, I said, hey, I can set you up a meeting with, with Steven Jackson. He was like, we can do that. So actually, Steven Jackson and Mayor Fisher, they have a private, meeting that, we're going to facilitate for them, just so they can kind of, it's private. I don't even, but we facilitated that because they both wanted that. And so did Chief Schroeder. It's like, hey, I want to be a part of it. I want to come down. I want to speak, and I want to let people know that, hey, I hear you. I understand. I feel you. And we're going to, we're going to do everything that we can. And that smoke and mirrors. I don't know if that was smoke and mirrors coming from Chief Schroeder, but I just think that having him there, just to be in the place, just to be visible, be able to be touched, I think that's a huge step for him.
I wanted to touch on what Griff said earlier about who the leaders are. And, a lot of times we looking for leaders and stuff, we looking for other people. This is our time. Yeah. We are the leaders of this generation.
Especially now, which you have social media. Right. Yeah. When you have people like Brad, you can't get anything past Brad. Right. So you got to be up on it. But 10 years ago, Brad would have had to have been a part of a major media outlet. Yeah. But now that you have, anybody can go live. Right. And that's why I said, you might not have the voices that we have up here, but you have a voice. If you have a voice, and so we just want people to be heard, like the people who aren't as popular as us, people who aren't as well known as us, people who aren't as, like we get a lot of perks just because of who we are and what we've done, but there's some people who aren't like us, you know what I'm saying? So we have to be the voice for the voiceless, and I understand that, my voice carries weight, so it's an honor and a privilege, but it's also a little bit of pressure too, because I know people are watching me, and I know what I used to do. I can't necessarily do a lot of those things because, like, hold on, how you gonna try to be like you can't be on both sides. So I'm honored. It's a pleasure to be in the position that I'm in, and just gonna use my platform. Like I said, to whom much is given, much is required, and it's a requirement for me to use my skill and my gift to bring people together. So, and that's what Griffith and I did for tomorrow. Also, we cannot forget about Ravon Clack. We haven't mentioned his name. He wasn't able to be here today, but Ravon Clack, he's been doing so much behind the scenes, and this event would not have been possible without Ravon Clack. So, shout out to Ravon Clack. Unfortunately, he won't be able to be there tomorrow, but all this last 5-7 days, he's been working like extremely hard to make sure that this event goes off well.
Another brother with a big platform.
No question.
He also ran for office a couple of years ago.
He did. So, and he was able to talk one-on-one with most of the people that we have speaking because he's built those relationships. So without Clack, we don't have the speakers, the amount of speakers or the level of speakers that we have. So he picked up the phone, called Senator Neal. Senator Neal was like, I'm there. He picked up the phone and called pretty much every person on the list. So can't do this without Ravon.
And I would like to say this, by any means, we're not no activists. We're not in politics or anything like that. I'm a supervisor at Dr. Pepper.
I work for Metro Parks.
and we're not no NBA basketball players. We not high profile people in the city or whatever you may call it. But what I'm saying is, Sean, I go to work just like everybody else.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we put this together in almost 12 days with no budget. You know what I'm saying? And the resources that we have around us was willing to help us out to make this event as big as it possibly can. But I want to reach on. I used to be a knucklehead.
Join the crowd.
But at the same time,
I'm in that club.
At the same time, right, a lot of people grow up late, and I want to spread this message to the younger generation. You know what I'm saying? They think it's cool, have your pants hanging down and having your gun out and all of those stuff like that. But it's a time where you got to figure your life out and the direction that you're going. And I ran into that a couple years ago, to where, like, where am I going? You know what I'm saying? Like, am I going to be working like a hard man all day, or am I getting ready to use my platform as I'm doing right now to educate the next generation? Let's be clear. This is for the younger generation, so when 20 years from now this comes back up, they know how to do it. Like we learned from the civil rights movement and stuff like that. But at the same time, you got to understand that in this path of life, you're going to have people pulling you to the left, and you're going to have people pulling you to the right. And Ravon was on my right-hand side. Clack was on my right-hand side. But these is people that I done kicked it with in my knuckleheadish days, but we done found our way in life to progress and use each other's outlooks and resources and everything to make stuff better. I would have never been, if you would have asked me this 10 years ago, I ain't doing it. Right. That was the mindset that I'm in, though. You know what I'm saying? But now it's like, I have a 17-year-old daughter, and like Ravon touched on, they just not killing black men now, they killing our black queens now. So as a father, I feel like I'm obligated to step up to the table to do whatever is necessary to make this message abroad for everybody to know about it, and hopefully everybody jump on and we can get some justice there.
And tomorrow's event is not a black event. It's an event for everybody who is in the struggle or the fight for social injustice. Right. So if you've been a victim of social injustice, or a victim of social injustice, this is for everybody. regardless of social economic background, political affiliation, the neighborhood you live in, what high school you went to. Because Louisville's a big, you know, what high school did you go to? It's one of the first questions you ask me. So no, it doesn't matter if you are black, white, Latin, Asian, rich, poor. We want everybody to come down, and we're gonna do this, rain or shine. Right. We looked at the forecast. You know, we know that there's rain expected, but I don't think you stop something. We're not gonna stop the momentum because of a little rain.
So I'm glad you said that. It's a lot of people out here, you know, fight the power. We want, you know, no justice, no peace. If you're not getting your hair done or hair messed up because of some rain, you ain't for it.
And it's the summer, and it's gonna be a nice, like the temperature.
Dr. King them took dogs.
Come on, man.
Come on,
man.
So you gotta think about it. You gotta think about it. You have been in the house since March.
Come on out, man.
Doing absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Like from March till now, there hasn't been that many selfies as it usually be.
Right, but a lot of seafood boils.
Yeah, it's a lot of seafood boils, but at the same time, we don't. I don't care if you have a baby by the Western Kentucky Hilltopper. Right. If you a mascot, you need to be here. Yeah. And what I mean by that is everybody's welcome. So don't let I just got my hair done and all of those stuff. Like this is a message for the community. Everybody needs to support this. So don't let it slow you down because it's gonna rain, or if it's sunny, or if it's humid, or whatever. If it's gonna rain, go to Dollar General and you can get you a poncho for 75 cents.
Yeah. Come on now. And then so another reason that we picked this location is because it's on a hard surface. Mm-hmm. So it's gonna be in a parking lot. We're gonna have a stage set up. We also haven't talked about the Black Vendor Fair.
Right.
So we wanted to invite some black business owners to come down. So you're going to be able to come down and shop with some black business owners. We have several food trucks, a lot of different varieties of food. So, and that was another thing we talked about this earlier. Like a lot of people, when they saw the flyer, was like, hold on, y'all making it like it's an event, like it's a celebration, like it's a party. And we didn't want to do that, but we wanted to change the narrative of what we be doing. Because as black people, you know, like we like music and food, and you know that's part of our culture. And we wanted to be able to kill a couple of birds with one stone, get some information and support, you know, our black business owners. So and we still have some vendor spaces available. Right. So if you want to come down, man, like if you're non-food vendors, we're only charging, it's only a $25 fee, and that's just to pay our expenses. Mm-hmm. You know, like so it's only a $25 fee. We're not trying to line our pockets or anything, but we want this to be a success because we don't want the momentum to stop. Right. And you know, like so we're already planning for future things because we don't want people to forget about Breonna Taylor in a couple of months.
Right, we don't. And that's one of my biggest things. And like when I say like me and the city have been at odds on this, right, is that we've usually been on the same page, but I'm like, accountability has to happen. Yeah. So when I start looking at the facts of the case, and I'm like, yo, we were under coronavirus. This murder happened March 13th. Yeah. It didn't even get passed to the feds till May, till it started gaining media attraction. Right. And that's when I straight up asked Mayor Fisher, I said, look, man, this case have not gained media attention, national media attention, would it have been swept under the rug?
Had it not been for George Floyd,
right. Yeah.
Breonna Taylor's story would not be as
big as it is
because she was murdered on March 13th. I didn't even hear about it until maybe the 16th or the 17th.
I was actually in Memphis working, and I went to the last basketball game, and it was the Memphis Grizzlies and Orlando Magic. And by the time I got to my hotel, NCAA shut down. Like they was just shutting down everything. And then 5-10 minutes later, my boss calls me and was like, "Hey, we got to head back to Louisville. Like this is worse than what we think." You know what I mean? So. It's crazy that it took us so long to get justice for her being in our own city, but it's here now. It's to the light, so we gotta take advantage.
We gotta fight.
And I give credit to all. Like I know two people in particular, like CTES, and there's a dude named Bruce Sweeney. Mm-hmm. They have taken it like like it's a part of their everyday life.
To go.
These two dudes are out protesting every single day. So people who have taken it upon themselves to go out and protest and march, like shout out to you. Don't stop. Don't stop. Like tomorrow it's not a march or we're not walking, it's a rally. But you know, even next week or the week after that or whatever, don't stop participating. Because when we stop, then they think, okay, it's cool. You know what I'm saying? We don't have to, the pressure stop. You can't stop the pressure.
I didn't want to do this, but I told Ravon I was. And this goes out to the promoters in the city. And I don't mean no disrespect. And this is real life. All right? if all of the promoters can gather themselves for a 502 shutdown for an event, why can't y'all do the same thing for justice for Breonna? You know what I'm saying?
Be more specific. You mean like host events and like rally for?
So we got something called the 502 shutdown where all the promoters get together in Derby and throw a big event.
So I'm not hip to it. Okay, good.
So all of them.
Okay.
We got probably 15 to 20 promoters.
Okay.
So if I can step out on the limb and use my platform, and you got 15 to 20 promoters that do all the events in the city, why can't y'all come together and continue what we're trying to preach?
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So you can't go to the clubs no more. You know, you gotta cut off half of the
venue or whatever.
The venue and stuff like that, so it's not no profit. Don't worry about that. Worry about getting this message out.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And everybody can post stuff on their social media and all that other stuff, but if you're not out there and you're not doing anything, how are you using your platform? And I'm not sending no diss or nothing like that. I'm more so sending a challenge. Get together and let's get this message across. Because if me and Ravon can use our platform, and how many other people that's out there, this is just 2 people that host your events that's doing this. And you are the bigger person as far as the promoter and has a mass following, pretty much triple or double of me and Ravon's audience. We got to start using our platforms for more things than cash flow and for recognition. We got to do it for the greater good, man. You know what I'm saying? This is what you call community service. I'm in the sports. I'm in the entertainment. This is not in my lane. But at the same time, it goes hand in hand on how you organize stuff. You got to get the teams together. In a concert, you got to get the artists together. You got to have who's coming on, who's the DJ, what venue we're going to use, who we're going to use to sound. There's no different from this. But we're just using politicians now. You see what I'm saying? So, no harm, no foul. But at the same time, for promoters, y'all are way deeper than me and Ravon. And y'all can reach more people than me and Ravon can. You see what I'm saying? And that's just not in Louisville, Kentucky. I want all the promoters to get together and do something statewide to where we're passing the torch. We might do it in Louisville. We might do it in Frankfurt. We might do it in Lexington. We're doing it in Bowling Green, Orangeboro. But the message is starting to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Right. That's the only challenge that I see.
I've seen promoters do like social media parties on Facebook and Instagram.
And they get 15, 20,000 views.
View from that. They can do the same thing with a situation.
Exactly.
And the thing is, man, I think it's also encompassing everything. Because it's like when you look at our community, and people don't want to have the conversation, but sometimes we are the predators in our community. So we have to sit back and look, our community is being targeted by law enforcement, by the criminal justice system, by racist people, whatever. We can't afford to continue to bring any havoc to our community. We have so many other things against us now. So it's time for men to step up in our community and protect the women, the kids, and ourselves. And other men.
And the women are asking for men to step up. You know what I'm saying? They're asking because in a lot of households, the woman is the head of the household.
Yeah, many households.
Many black households, the woman is the head of the household. And so women are asking us as black men, like, step up. You know what I'm saying?
It's time.
It's time for us to step up.
You know, whenever you see a powerful black man, there's a powerful black woman behind it.
No question.
You know what I'm saying? So, and Brad, this just doesn't stop with the police. We talking about the DAs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We talking about the judges. Because all of this is in a line. You know what I'm saying? They know what's going on, but at the same time, they're going to try to sweep it up under the rug. We don't watch many movies.
Breonna Taylor's still alive if the judge doesn't sign the warrant.
Well, see, this is my other thing that people ignored, that this was a big thing for me. Had this case not gained national attention, right, not only would we have lost Breonna Taylor, the Commonwealth of Kentucky was totally comfortable sending Kenneth Walker to jail for decades.
Sure was.
Yeah,
for a long time.
They sent that man to prison for decades for attempted murder on law enforcement.
For a long time.
And they hear us complaining, man, police this, police that, and they be like, man, you just an angry black person that not liking the law. But when this came up to a light, it's bigger than Hankerson. Because somebody had, like you said, Ravon, somebody had to sign the word, somebody had to take it to court, and somebody like that. We just got through watching Power. Yeah. And we seen, not saying about the murder, but how the system. Yeah. The system. We just watched Training Day.
And not only
the system.
So you can take out officers, but they're just a pog in the system of injustice. So you can put someone else in, throw them in, and even if they come in innocent, they may become victim of this system that's already malicious from the beginning. So you got to change the system. You got to change the laws. You got to change policy.
They got to start from the top down. But also, what's happening too is because of the platform we have and that we putting recognition on a lot of things, it's people inboxing us about, okay, but this police brutality happened then, this brutality happened there. I'm getting inboxes.
Me too.
You know, I'm getting inboxes about it. So hopefully,
but everybody from the hood know this is not new.
This is not new.
This is
but
not
at
new.
the same time, what you saying? Why inbox me, Ravon, Brad, and you about it? Send it to the people that needs to get it.
Yes.
But a lot of people is afraid to voice their opinion, step to the forefront, or do whatever they got to do for the mission. Don't be afraid.
Because no matter who you are, everybody's not gonna like what you do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so when I got a little backlash, I was like, oh, like that bothered me. But I had to realize, like, hey, everybody's not gonna. There's not one thing on earth that every single person on earth agrees with or likes.
Nobody's perfect.
Maybe water, yeah. But some people, other than water, what is the one thing that is universally accepted? Right. Or like every single person likes this one thing other than water. And I'm not water. You know what I'm saying? So I know that people are going to come at me, people are going to come at you, and that's cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's one thing that, like, we talk about where we live, but honestly, I wouldn't want to live in another country on earth. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I love the fact that I'm a African American. I just want things to be different for African Americans in my country.
Same as everybody.
Yeah,
I don't want revenge. I don't want revenge. Right. I just want justice, and I want my grandson. I have 3 grandsons. I want them to grow up and not have to do or went through, where I had to go through or went through.
And we finish tackling this, we coming for that child support shit now.
Hey, bring me back on. Bring me back on.
There needs to be a
bring me back on for the child support episode.
I will be doing double shifts at work when y'all talking about that. So y'all just let me know.
Bring me back on for the child support episode. I'm trying to tell you.
All right, people, we got to get out of here. But once again, tell the people again, tomorrow, 4:30 p.m., Cox Park.
Yes, sir.
Cox Park.
Black Culture Sunday, Cox Park. Stephen Stack 5 Jackson will be our main special guest. We also have Bella Wright from B96.5. She's going to be co-hosting with me.
And we got Poe Floyd. Yeah. George Floyd's real brother.
Oh, yeah?
He's going to be here tomorrow.
Okay.
So we set up a meeting. He's going to meet with Breonna Taylor's sister, Janiyah. So I think her mom's is possibly going to come down. So, yeah, we got George Floyd's, real brother. He's going to be here.
If you don't know who Stacks is, look, people keep asking me, who is Steven Jackson? I said, you remember back in the day when the Indiana Pacers got in the fight with Detroit Pistons? He was the one up in the stands throwing hands.
When Ron Artest went in the crowd, you seen number 5 with some dreads and a handbag just swinging.
And he also has one of the top-rated podcasts
he does.
all of the country.
All the Smoke.
It's on Showtime, with him and Matt Barnes. So real cool. And just talking to him, dude's a cool dude. We speak each other's language. Right. So I think it's going to be cool. And Steven Jackson is going to give a totally different opinion than Jesse Jackson.
Right.
They had Jesse Jackson here. He was on, at 6th Street, on the Jefferson Square. But Steven Jackson and Jesse Jackson, 2 totally different things, and the events are going to be 2 totally different things.
He's one of us.
All right, people, check us out. Urban Voices Radio every Saturday afternoon on 106.3. We out of here, people.
Thank you. That's what's up. Man, appreciate that, y'all.
Tonight, I am going to, we got some barricades down there.